bit excited.
Overcoming your mountain or overcoming our mountains. And let's just think for a moment, what's a mountain that we've all been through? Or what's one maybe we're going through? I want you to yell some out now. What's maybe a generic one in general? What's a mountain that could be in someone's life? It doesn't have to be your life, but in someone's. Just yell them out. Insecurities. Yes. Those are all good ones. And Fortnite. Yeah. You climb a few mountains in that game. Yeah. But, I wanted to show you that video because I think there was nothing referencing God, really, technically. There was nothing that related to God directly. But I can see a gifting in Alex, and I can see, how much dedication he put in to that. And I think overcoming that mountain, remember physically, he couldn't just wake up one day and decide to do it without any training. He had to, train for 2 years. But I want to talk about different mountains, spiritual mountains. And the cool thing is, I think we can conquer spiritual mountains in a second, like that. Because in the spirit, God can shift things as soon as he wants. Isn't that cool? We don't have to train to break this thing, but God can just do that right now, tonight. We can overcome some mountains. So maybe you're in your chair and you're thinking, I do have a mountain and I want to overcome that tonight. Let me tell you a story of myself, because I know we've all had our own mountains and are still going through them. A recent one, I guess it was more like a goal, but I just never really thought about achieving it or doing it. So this one was, I guess, creating a website. And maybe you know that I have a website, maybe you don't. But this website is called Kingdom Patches. And who's heard of that website maybe? You might have seen me spam it a bit on Instagram or Facebook. But I just love talking about the real things, and I just want to be real tonight. And when I made this website, I had doubt. Like, you need to invest, don't you, to get back. And I had doubt that, maybe I like my stuff, but I don't know if anyone else is going to be using the things from my site. So let me just tell you about the site. The site is for piano players around the world who play on worship teams, like here at youth and in church and whatever. And they have all these cool sounds that they play through the keyboard. And I had doubts. I said, if I do this, are people actually, going to want to purchase, or am I even good enough? Am I worthy? And I said, you know what, who cares? I'm already doing it. Why not just do it, kind of thing, yeah? And so it hasn't been a year yet, but last year in April, I did launch it. And the very first sale that I got, I screenshot it, and I thought, wow, it's actually happening. This thing is actually kicking off. And isn't that the most inspiring part of any journey? The very first, I guess, little thing that sparks it up. And then before I knew it, there was people all around the world that were buying these things. This morning I got some emails. I didn't tell you, Lexi, I got an email from a girl a lady, I should say. She plays in a church of 1,000, and she's using stuff from my website, and she's high degree piano player and is so thankful for what I've brought. And if I never stepped out and doubted myself, all these other people wouldn't be, I guess, what they say, blessed to have these things. And I'm blessed to be a blessing. So I just want to say, whatever is in your heart, just go for it. Like that, physically, if you want to do something like that, yeah, that's going to take a lot of pressure and you're going to need to step out of your box, but it's so worth it. And I'm waiting, to see increase and to build the kingdom. So let's get a little bit more deeper, like a real mountain. I shared this one time in worship on on a Sunday morning. And who knows that anxiety is a real thing? Yeah. And, you know, my family actually, my mother, my younger brother, they both suffered with anxiety. And I suffered similar when I was in primary school, almost in high school. And I was afraid of dying. I had panic attacks. And you know when you have a panic attack, it's like you don't know how to control yourself. It's like you just can't keep calm. And I'd have these panic attacks literally like every day. And these panic attacks were so real. It was like a mountain that was so tall and I could never get past it or over it. And in this season, when I was in this battle, I was thinking to myself, like I told my mum, I wish I was never born so I didn't have to go through this. Yeah, I told her that, and she kept saying, don't say that, like, that just sounds silly. And I was being so true. I said, I wish I was never born because it is so hard for me to go through this stuff. Have you ever been in that position where you just said, man, like, I just wish I wasn't born because why am I going through this? And God actually doesn't want us to go through that. I think that's the coolest thing, that God never intended us to live in a place of suffering. Because who knows, He suffered for us. And all that He took on the cross, He took that so that we didn't have to. And I didn't get that revelation. I wish I had the revelation, but that revelation didn't come till, I guess, maybe almost a year. And one of the worst times was I was in the back of a car and I hated car rides. Who's claustrophobic here? I'm not claustrophobic, but this day I just felt like I was stuck in this metal bubble because the drive was like an hour. We were visiting my auntie and uncle, and when we came home, I was just freaking out and I lost it, and I thought I was going to die in the back of a car. But I'm so thankful to look back at that time in my life and learn from those things, learn from the battles, because that could have defeated me. I could have taken my own life, or I could have just gave into it, because that is a spiritual battle. That whole thing was mental and spiritual, because nothing was actually wrong with me. And I think the deception of the enemy, the deception of Satan, he just lives in your brain if you let him live there. But I would rather let the King of Kings live in my mind. So when I was at church all my time, being in that suffering, like you guys. And who knows, at church, people suffer. I'm not saying the church is a suffering place, but there's suffering people, maybe even tonight, there's people who are suffering, going through things. And I don't want you to think that, when I step into youth, I have to be holy, or I can't be suffering. But I guess that's the place where suffering people are attracted to, because this is the place where we're set free. Amen? And I want all of you to be set free tonight. And later, I think I want to sing a song all together, just our voices. We'll say that for later. I just felt that in my spirit just then. But I got the revelation when I was singing at church, and I was thinking about the lyrics, and I guess we all hate hypocrites, because hypocrites say to do something, but they don't do it themselves. And I was being a hypocrite in my own way without even realizing it. And coming to church, singing songs, reading the Bible, so much truth in that. But when it came to the panic attacks, I couldn't apply all that to my life. And that mountain was just there, eating me alive, if that mountain had a mouth. But it was scary. But one day I said, I'm singing songs like, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Singing songs like, Holy Spirit rain, fall like a flood. That wasn't released back then, but I wish it was. It was a good song. And other songs, that declare how good God is and how He is the God of everything. And, I stand in awe of you. And when I begin to realize that I need to apply these lyrics into my life, literally overnight, like everything just went. I didn't have to fight for it. But what set me free? Who can tell me what set me free? Truth. Yeah, truth. Who knows that verse where it says the truth shall set you free? And all we need in life, I think, or one of the things definitely, is truth. Because I've been told many lies, you've been told many lies, but when I can fight the devil with truth, I think that's where we win our battles. And I was so happy to just say, hey, God, I'm living in truth now. I don't need to go through this. I don't need to suffer anymore. And I'm so happy that I could get that revelation at that age. So after that, there's many battles, isn't there? There's many mountains. And I'm still going through mountains today. I'm facing my own mountains. But who thinks right now in their spot that they have a mountain in their life that maybe they've been through and haven't overcome it yet, or are in one now and are finding it maybe a bit tricky? You don't have to put your hand up, actually. You can if you like, but you don't have to. Because even if it's the little things, I think the little things, they grow bigger and they try to, get a hold of us. And it's where the little doubts creep in, that's when it gets, I guess, magnified. So just bow your heads for a moment. I just want to pray real quick. God, what you're doing is a good thing, Lord, and everything that, we saw tonight, like a physical mountain, Lord, that mountain is huge. And God, we don't want the mountains in our life to be huge like that. But God, we know that you're bigger than any mountain, Father. And Lord, as we maybe metaphorically climb up these mountains and get to the top and overcome these things, Lord, I just thank you that you're there, Lord, guiding us the whole way. You're there as that support. And God, that we could lean in your word as truth, Father. And that everything we do, Lord, that we wouldn't let doubt creep in, and that we wouldn't think, oh no, I'm going up and that might be an unstable rock. I'm going to fall to my death, or I'm letting all this thing overtake me. But Father, I just thank you that we would keep our eyes set above and that we would be set free, Father.